Hear ye, 14.1a is now in session. This is Mr. Kays, and we're talking about church reform in the Crusades. We're going to see some problems that manifest themselves in the Middle Ages. And the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, is going to really come into play here. Because there were problems. Around 500 AD to about 1000 AD, there's many problems within the church that need to be addressed. And as we begin to look at them, we see, well, three main ones. Number one, priests were marrying and having families. Well, that was against Roman Catholic law. Naughty, naughty. Number two, there were positions in the church that were being sold by bishops. A practice called simony, S-I-M-O-N-Y. Hey, would you like to buy a position in the church? Sure, just cross my palm with silver and we'll do it. Well, in selling those, that gave people the right to order other people around in the church. And that meant not only power, but eventually money. And that was not condoned by the church at Rome. And number three, the practice of lay investiture. We saw that last chapter in chapter 13, where kings would be naming bishops instead of the church, and that was really something the church got angry about. Well, reform is not going to come from the top down. It's going to come from the bottom up at a monastery in Cluny, France. The church reforms and reorganizations extended papal authority in Europe. It's going to allow the church to be stronger. We're going to see the Benedictine monastery founded in the town of Cluny about 910 AD. B-E-N-E-D-I-C-T-I-N-E. Benedictine monastery, named after the famous friar Benedict. And then we also see both Pope Leo IX and Pope Gregory VII taking measures to purify the church. Well, it begins from the bottom up instead of the top down. All right. And then we begin to see reform in church organization. Under that, you can put down new religious orders are going to strengthen the church. They're going to revitalize them, give them new life, including the Benedictines. Number two, you can see that further reform by the popes with their advisors, called the Papal Curia, are going to develop more strict canon law that reflect the church ideas of the Roman Catholic Church. And then number three, you can see tithes are collected, T-I-T-H-E. A tithe, if you remember, is 10% of all that you earn, that you give to the church. And when we talk about papal, that means the Pope. Don't get too alarmed at that word. Papal, P-A-P-A-L, just means Pope. Okay, who are these new orders? Well, you have these monks called friars who did not live apart from the people. Monks typically lived in monasteries and did not meet with the people. They lived a very solitary life. Well, these monks that went and lived and preached and taught and did good works among the people were called friars. And we're going to see two orders of friars. Number one, the Dominicans, D-O-M-I-N-I-C-A-N-S. They're the earliest of friars founded by Dominic, and they're going to emphasize scholarship and learning. And then you see the second group, the Franciscans, F-R-A-N-C-I-S-C-A-N-S, founded by St. Francis of Assisi, A-S-S-I-S-S-I. Assisi is an Italian town. So these two groups of friars are going to minister among the people. You also see, well, Francis of Assisi, an Italian dude, emphasized the brotherhood of all creatures, be they men or animals. Then you also see religious orders for women. Remember, Benedict had a sister by the name of Scholastica. Well, she ran a convent for nuns. So you're going to see women as well as men participating in spiritual revival. But they did not travel as the men did for obvious reasons. It was not safe for the women to be out and about. In the year 212, the Franciscan Order for Women was founded, and they're also known as the Poor Clares, Clares. Clare was a nun who founded that order. And then in 1147, you see a Benedictine order that was founded by Hildegard. What a name. Obviously, that's a German name. Hildegard, Hildegard, of the city of Bingen, Bingen. She was kind of a mystic. But we see these convents and monasteries established to minister to the people. How do we know what Christianity is here to stay in Western Europe? You're going to see churches that are considered cities of God. They're called cathedrals. I jokingly say that these cathedrals were honkin' churches, just huge, beautiful churches. And we see a style of architecture that's going to go from dark and gloomy to light and bright. We see between the period of 800 AD to 1100 AD, churches that are built in the Romanesque style, Romanesque, Romanesque style. They're heavy, they're gloomy, they don't have large windows, narrow slits to let in light, but most of the light was through candles that were lit and candelabras. And it was kind of gloomy and dark. The later ones are going to be Gothic architecture. Gothic architecture. Now, Gothic was named after these ankle-biter tribes that existed earlier. Gothic architecture replaced the Romanesque style, as were the Romanesque were rounded arches, heavy roofs, thick walls, and pillars. You see Gothic style that's known for vaulted ceilings, high ceilings, stained glass that flooded light in, and then these tall spires or towers at the top of the churches or cathedrals that pointed their way to God. Well, that's it for chapter 14.1a. We'll see you down the road for the next section. Bye-bye.